the tutorial. As I said, the first-time user experience is really very important. And most of the games usually start with a tutorial. Well, in fact, not only the games. So what are the signs of the good tutorial? First of all, the good tutorial should teach the user how to use the application. And also, a good tutorial should intrigue the user. Do you know the Lingualeo service? The service of education of the English language. I've heard about some case about them, how they managed to increase their retention twice. They added some labels on each level of their educational game. For example, they said that on the third level, the user is expected to meet some interesting words. On the first, some interesting sentences, and so on. So user do not know what exactly will he do on this third and fourth level, but it intrigues the user. It added one more reason to retain for the user. So the tutorial should also intrigue the user, should show that there is going to be something more interesting later in the game. And also the good tutorial should habituate users to monetization and virality. So that's why in most of the games start with the online game shop, where they show you how to buy, how to spend your virtual currency, and how to share information with the friends. They broke the barriers between the users and the action, between the users and the monetization, and the users and the virality. And of course, the good tutorial should be short. Don't forget about those 2 or 3 minutes that you have to make the users interested in your project. It's also a very interesting way to analyze your tutorial. Try to understand what does your user see and what does the user feel during the first minute of your tutorial, during the second minute, the third minute, the 5th minute, and so on, the 5th minute. It's very simple. This table is very simple, but in fact, it requires the deeper thinking from you. You will have to think as your first-time coming user. And now again, I'd like to show you the tutorial in devtodev. We have such report. We have the game metric session reports. Here we can see the stats of the in-app purchases, of the currency balances, of distribution of users by level, and also here we can see the tutorial steps report. How does it work? We can recommend you to integrate as many custom events to tutorial as it's possible, and this report allows you to build the funnels for more than 100 steps for the first-time user session. And here we can find some places where most of the users prefer to leave the application, like this or this. Well, in fact, it could be not only the steps visible by users, it could only be the invisible steps. For example, the steps when some textures are uploading to the game, some fonts, and so on. And we have a case of using this report. Some guys, one game, they found that most of the users prefer to live on the technical steps, on the steps which are invisible for the users. And so that's why they decided to optimize the tutorial, optimize the uploading of stints and textures to the game. All right. Which more events I can recommend you to integrate if you are working with the analytical service? You send us the data about the registration, the launch, the payments, and the purchases. And also, I can recommend to track the reaching the level moments. Well, the metrics called level is very important for the games. I found some strong correlation between the level and the average revenue per paying user. Usually those users who have the highest level, they have the highest amounts of money to pay. And also the level is like the synonym of the retention. The achievements, if users get the achievements, unlock the achievements, It means that they're interested in your project, and it means that they become more loyal and loyal and loyal to you. So track the achievements which users unlock.
Do you differentiate between achievements, or it's just like?
Of course, it differentiates with achievements. The social network activity. Well, devtodev allows you to catch the moments of users log in into the social networks. That's why you can build the report where users are, in which social networks you can find them. It is useful when you want to, for example, when you make some SMM decisions, which channels to use to communicate with the user. And also devtodev can catch the moment of the post to the social network. And you can connect it with some in-game events and try to understand which in-game events motivate the users to share the data with their friends. Push notifications. Well, I've seen the stats where the push notifications increased the revenue by 20 to 30%. So it could be the very effective tool if you integrate it accurately. So if you integrate the events such as push notification, receivement, reading, and some actions after the push notification, it can also allow you to optimize the push notification campaigns. And the purchase screen, opening the items, it works well for the online game shops, for internet shops. It allows you to compare the different conversions of different goods with each other. And also there is an opinion that it is possible to add the custom event on each screen and each menu element. Well, I am not 100% sure that it's true, it's the true way, because there will be a lot of data that is useless. But if your application, if your project has the determined number of screens and determined number of menu elements, for example, only 3 screens and 4 menu elements on each screen, then it's okay. Then you can track it, you can track all the events, and you can find how the users behave themselves. And also when you integrate the events, you can integrate some parameters with the events, not only the moment, but only some extra data about it. For example, I can recommend you to mark the time of events. Maybe you will find that users prefer to register in the mornings and prefer to pay in the evenings. So that's why you can send some push notification to them in the evening, for example. Use the global parameters such as day of week. As I said, those users who registered on Friday have the higher attention than the users who came on Saturday and Sunday. Also, I can recommend you to track the registration day of the users. It will allow you to make the cohort analysis and to compare different cohorts with each other. The traffic source, as I said, if you're working with traffic sources, you compare them with ROI for 7 days, for 14 days, and so on. And if you track the custom events, and if you send the traffic source at the parameter, it will allow you to compare different traffic channels for the longer period. Again, the player's level and the paying activity. Well, for example, you can compare the behavior of the paying user versus non-paying user. Some also advices to you how to use the custom events when you integrate the analytical service. In the funnels, it is possible to build the funnels using the same event, but with different parameter values. For example, I hope you know the Candy Crush saga. Yeah, I think everyone knows it. And in this game, users usually need more than one attempt to pass the level. So that's why Candy Crush, King.com, they can build the funnels for these attempts, and they can track how many points do user get on each attempt, and it can allow them to optimize the difficulty of the levels. Also, recommendation to you is to send your analytics to at least 2 systems. You can use, for example, one free system and one paid system, and you use the free system only as the synchronization, only to double check the data that you use, because the main rule of the analytics is garbage in, garbage out. So you need to use only accurate data to make some decisions. The very common mistake of integration is sending the purchase event before the purchase is confirmed. So that's why we are often asked to find where are the reasons. And the reasons, for example, could be that inefficient funds on the cards and so on. So my recommendation is to send us the data only when the data is confirmed. Add the events to errors. Of course, users should not see the errors in your application, in your project. And also, if you have integrated a lot of custom events, you can build a lot of funnels for these custom events. And if you use these funnels, not for the whole set of the users, but for some custom segments, it will allow you to find a lot of bottlenecks, to find a lot of interesting features that you can fix and that you can reach some growth.